What if I told you there's a force that can literally turn one element into another? A force that acts as a kind of cosmic clock for the universe, and a force that quietly powers our modern world from inside the tiniest spaces imaginable. Well, that force is radioactivity, and today we are going to pull back the curtain and demystify it.
So, to get started, here's a weird one for you. What could possibly connect a mummy that's thousands of years old with a smoke detector hanging on your ceiling? I mean, it seems impossible, right? But the answer for both lies in a process called radioactive decay. Stick with me, and you'll see how the very same atomic process that helps us date ancient artifacts is also keeping you safe from fires.
All right, our journey has to start deep inside the nucleus of an atom. Now, for most atoms you run into, everything's fine. The forces holding that nucleus together are all in a perfect, stable balance. But for some atoms, there's an imbalance. Too many protons, maybe too many neutrons, and that makes the nucleus unstable. It's just waiting to change. And that change is what we call radioactivity. Now, the key word here, the one you got to remember, is spontaneous. This isn't some chemical reaction we can start or stop. It's a natural, unstoppable process. An unstable atom is going to decay on its own schedule, and there is nothing we can do, not heat, not pressure, not a thing, that can change that fundamental time. So what makes an atom unstable in the first place? Well, you can think of it like this delicate balancing act happening inside the nucleus. You've got all these positively charged protons crammed together, and they're all trying to push each other apart. What holds them together is something called the strong nuclear force, with neutrons acting as a kind of atomic glue. But if you have too many or too few neutrons for the number of protons you've got, that repelling force starts to win. The nucleus just has too much energy, and it needs to release it to find a stable state. And this brings us to the really crucial point. How does an unstable atom actually get rid of that extra energy? It does it by spitting out radiation. And this radiation comes in three main types, or flavors, if you will. First up, we have alpha radiation. The best way to think about an alpha particle is as a pretty heavy chunk of the nucleus that gets kicked out. It's made of two protons and two neutrons, which you might recognize is exactly the same thing as the nucleus of a helium atom. Now, because it's a relatively big, heavy particle, an alpha particle is what we call highly ionizing. That just means it's really good at knocking electrons off other atoms it bumps into. It's powerful, sure, but it doesn't travel very far. In fact, it can be stopped by something as thin as a single sheet of paper or even just the outer layer of your skin. And here's a perfect real-world example. A massive uranium-238 atom ejects an alpha particle. When it does that, it loses two protons and two neutrons. And just like that, it transforms into a completely different, slightly lighter element, thorium. It has fundamentally changed its identity. It's modern-day alchemy. Okay, next we've got beta radiation. Now, this one is very different. Instead of a big chunk of the nucleus, the atom emits a tiny, super fast-moving electron. It is much, much smaller and lighter than an alpha particle, which gives it completely different properties. Because it's so small and fast, a beta particle is way more penetrating than an alpha particle. Paper isn't going to stop it. You'd need a thin sheet of aluminum to block its path. It just travels farther and faster. And a fantastic example of this is the decay of carbon-14. When it undergoes beta decay, a neutron inside its nucleus basically turns into a proton, and it releases an electron in the process. This transforms the carbon atom into a nitrogen atom, and this specific decay right here, this is the secret to dating ancient organic stuff, which, believe me, we are coming back to. And finally, we have the third type, gamma radiation. This one's the real weirdo. It isn't a particle at all. It has no mass, no charge. It is pure, high-frequency energy, an electromagnetic wave, kind of like visible light, but way, way more energetic. Think of gamma as the ghost of radiation. It's the most penetrating form of all. Because it has no mass or charge, it just sails through matter incredibly easily. Paper and aluminum won't even slow it down. You need thick blocks of lead or dense concrete to have a chance at absorbing its energy. A lot of times, after an atom goes through alpha or beta decay, the nucleus is still a little overexcited. It's like a bell that's just been rung and is still vibrating. To calm down, it releases that final bit of energy as a gamma ray. And notice here, the cobalt-60 atom doesn't change its identity. It's still cobalt. It just settles down into a more stable, lower energy state. So let's just put it all together real quick. You've got alpha, the big, heavy particle, stopped by paper. You've got beta, the small, fast particle stopped by aluminum. And then you have gamma, the pure energy wave, which needs thick lead to be stopped. 3 totally different solutions to the very same problem, an unstable nucleus.
Okay, so we know what radiation is now, but this brings up the big question, right? Is it dangerous? Is it useful? Well, the answer, fascinatingly enough, is yes, to both. Radioactivity has this profound dual nature.
On the one hand, yeah, uncontrolled exposure to this stuff can damage our cells, cause mutations, and make us sick. But on the other hand, we figured out how to harness that very same power. I mean, the ability of radiation to destroy cells is precisely what makes a targeted gamma-ray beam an incredible tool for treating cancer. We use it for medical imaging, for generating clean electricity, and, as we're about to see, for reading the story of the past.
So let's zoom in on one of the most incredible applications we just saw on that list, using this unstoppable atomic process as a clock that can measure thousands of years into the past. The concept that makes all of this possible is called half-life. Okay, imagine you have a jar full of popcorn kernels on a hot stove. You can't predict exactly which kernel is going to pop next, right? But you know that after a couple of minutes, about half of them will have popped. It's the exact same idea with radioactive atoms. We can't tell you when one single atom will decay, but we know with incredible precision how long it takes for half of a big group of them to decay. And that fixed period of time, that's its half-life. So let's imagine we start with, say, 800 radioactive atoms of something, and its half-life is 10 years. We just wait. After 10 years pass, exactly half of them, 400, will have decayed. Then we wait another 10 years. Half of what's left will decay, leaving us with 200. This perfectly predictable, steady decay is basically nature's most reliable clock. And this is how we date that mummy. See, all living things, including you and me, are constantly absorbing a radioactive version of carbon, carbon-14, from the atmosphere. When an organism dies, it stops taking in new carbon. The carbon-14 it already has just starts to decay into nitrogen-14, with a half-life of 5,730 years. So if archaeologists find a fossil that has only 25%, just a quarter of the carbon-14 they'd expect to see, they know that 2 half-lives have gone by. They can say with real certainty that thing is about 11,460 years old. How cool is that?
So, from the peril to the promise, what we're seeing is that radioactivity isn't just something to be feared. It's a fundamental process of the universe that we need to understand. And by understanding it, we've learned how to harness it for a truly amazing range of applications.
And this brings us right back to the beginning. In industry, the amount of beta radiation that can pass through a sheet of steel tells us its exact thickness. In medicine, targeted gamma rays are saving lives. Nuclear power plants use this process to generate electricity. And that mummy? Dated using the predictable half-life of carbon-14. As for your smoke detector, it uses a tiny, completely safe amount of an alpha-emitting element. This creates a little electric current in the air inside it. When smoke particles get in and disrupt that current, the alarm goes off. It's a force that is both ancient and totally modern. You know, when you think about it, from the creation of elements inside stars to the tools that define our civilization, radioactive decay is an engine of change and a keeper of time. It's revealed the age of our planet, and it's helped heal our bodies. But as we keep unlocking the secrets of the atom, from new medical treatments to totally new forms of energy, we have to ask ourselves, what will it help us discover next?